Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And rule number 1 is cardio.
Tiny Epic Zombies is, of course, Tiny Epic's foray into the zombie genre. And there's a ton of zombie games out there, but I definitely think this one holds its own. So you are playing as a group of survivors that have to complete a set, 3 missions to win the game, all while staying alive. And you've got zombies that are trying to kill you or trying to kill your barricade where you're trying to protect your survivors. And it's just a bloodbath because there are zombies everywhere. You're constantly killing zombies and they're constantly coming back. And it's a tough co-op game.
First of all, it's not only a co-op game. It's co-op. There's a competitive version. There's an all versus one version. And is there a team or so? There's a lot of different ways that you can play. Mm-hmm. But actually, so far we've only played as all versus one and straight co-op. I haven't done the competitive version or whatever. And I gotta say, so far I like the all versus one the best, definitely.
Absolutely, and I could have told you that before I played it because all versus one is one of my very favorite styles of game. I really love playing the Overlord zombie, whatever the one is that everyone else is attacking. I love playing as that because typically they're overpowered because they're fighting off up to 4 other people, and I think that's just a blast.
And actually the co-op, in the co-op, it's very similar to the all versus one, except pretty much all the decisions that the zombie player would make go more at random, which could almost be worse sometimes. Sometimes the Overlord player, or whatever you want to call him, kind of acts as more of a DM, being like, I want to beat you guys, but also I want you guys to have a good experience. I want us to all have a fun game, so I don't want it to be too hard. But when we were playing co-op, we were like, we make noise, and we make noise, and we make noise. We make noise every single turn. And got overrun.
And there's no trying to trick them out, because playing as a zombie player, you pick where the zombies are going to spawn a whole turn ahead. Yeah. So at the end of Tom's turn, I would pick at the end of your next turn, this is what's going to happen. And so I'm trying to think of what would he do next turn based on what's the board state is, what the objectives are. And so he can try to be unpredictable of, well, he probably expects me to go here, so I'm not going to go there to avoid noise. Where this board, it's just random. You have nothing to base it on other than essentially a roll of the die or a turn of the card in the deck.
We've kind of glossed over it a little bit, but a lot of what you do is you have the 3 movements. You move, attack a zombie, and then you can pick up some stuff and get some cards and whatever. So it is very simple. Now, I'm hesitant to say this because I do not want you to think... I so far have never disliked a Tiny Epic game. I have varying opinions on them. As you can see, we have a lot of reviews on our channel. But this one was actually starting to become one of my least favorite just for that reason. It's just so simple. Now, it is very simple mechanics with the complexity of the special abilities that you have, the special abilities that the zombies have, and the special abilities on the cards. And sure, there is variety in the different missions that you have. There's all sorts of variety. But on my turn, I always felt like it came down to I'm gonna do this. You know what it's not that it played it for me because there were options. I do. Again, I'm not trying to say that I disliked it, but I just felt like it was compared to Galaxies with the expansion and compared to West and Quest, it just feels so much lighter.
It is. I honestly had a blast playing this one. And it is very much just you're killing zombies. You kill a bunch of zombies, and a bunch more zombies come at you again. And it's really rare that you're going to really, have not many zombies on the board.
Yeah.
Every game we played, almost every time, the zombies were, just getting closer and closer and closer in, such that they're going to overwhelm you at some point, which I feel kind of fits with the whole zombie theme. Eventually everyone dies because the zombies take over. And you do have your missions to complete, and we have completed those in the past, but it's always if we don't complete it right now, we're gonna die. And it's trying to decide, do I want to let the zombies come in and kill people, but finish this objective? Or do I want to try to save those people, but there is a timer on the game because once this deck of cards runs out, those are the cards that give you weapons and stuff, but they also are where the zombies spawn. So there is a timer to the game, but you're trying to complete your objectives before the timer runs out or before the zombies overwhelm you. And I think that For a co-op game, it's really tough, really tight, and it's not like super like, oh, I was gonna do this and then it just failed. There is dice for melee attack, so it can be like, well, that sucks because I had to buy a dice roll and now I'm dead and I can't do that. But for the most part, it's just trying to do a really simple task with a lot of zombies in between you and that task. I had fun with it.
No, again, I like the game. It's just, it's almost like a good problem to have, right? Where every other game is so good that
Yeah.
like even a game that you enjoy, you say, well, it's not amazing like these other games.
And because those other games have so much like strategy and options and choices and stuff to do, this one definitely feels very different from some of those that you mentioned.
This one definitely feels like it has the most variety, though. I will say that. With all these different characters you can play as and all the different zombie people that they could... zombie characters that they could have, because every time you die, then the zombie player now has that additional
they get
passive
stronger the more
ability
you
and
kill.
right. And that mixed with the fact that there's the 3 different objectives, so all the different combinations. So there is an awful lot of variety here. I just... What do I wish? I wish that when you had more things to... Instead of like, oh, there's a lot of different characters, a lot of different special abilities, I wish that what you did on your turn was a little bit more... It was just a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you have to move, and then, like, well, you fight a zombie, and it's either just, lose a bullet or roll a die, and, like, you kill it anyways. I don't know. I just wish that there was a little bit more, I don't know, like, dicey. I mean, I guess it does get really dicey towards the end. But I wish every turn was like, ooh, what do I have to do? And then when it comes down to your turn, I always feel like I'm like, okay, I'm pretty certain I'm just going to go do this.
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit more like Zombicide than Dead of Winter, where the bulk of the game is
Well,
just...
of course, because those two games, while both having the zombie theme, are vastly different from each other.
But in terms of zombie theme, Dead of Winter has a lot more like strategy to it, and there's like some social aspects to it, and I mean the crossword cards got introduced in that, where Zombicide is a lot of like, we want to get from A to B and survive, and that's a lot more what this feels like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely feels like a stripped down version or a miniature version of Zombicide.
But if that's what you're looking for, because it is a tiny epic game, you're trying to fit it into the box.
I said a miniature version, and Zombicide is a miniatures game.
This game definitely does fit with the tiny epic feel. It's in the right size box. They bring back item meeples again, this time with like more modern weapons instead of like
swords and
shields.
And you get to put your item meeples on a motorcycle or in a police car.
I was kind of underwhelmed by the vehicles.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool that they are there, and like the meeple fits into them. But going from like this super innovative, like these plastic meeples with the holes that can hold things, to just like a big chunk of wood that they sit in, that's like the police car is essentially just a teleporter. Like the motorcycle, I think you can fight zombies in it or something. I don't know. I thought they were cool. I was kind of underwhelmed by them though. But overall, I thought this is a really enjoyable game if you are looking for kind of just that kill zombies and try to survive.
I also really like it. I would highly recommend doing the all versus one.
I probably won't play it again, not that way.
Right.
Like, I might play it as co-op, maybe.
No, but we haven't done the competitive yet, so
yeah,
we would probably try that out.
But if we're going to play competitive, I would rather play as the Overlord than try to fight other survivors.
Right, okay, sure. But all I'm saying is, again, take what I said with a grain of salt. Really, actually, I think, how about this? If you want to get this game, but you don't have any other Tiny Epics, get, in this order, Galaxies with the expansion, West, then Quest, and then think about this one.
But if you're looking to pick this game up, we're going to have a purchase link in the description box down below. Click that, buy it, buy the other Tiny Epics, give me $20.
Yeah, PayPal us some Bitcoins, send us some money over wire transfer.
Buy us a coffee.
Yeah, and while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
Rule number 2, double tap.
Rule number 3, beware of bathrooms. I think. I don't remember which numbers there were, but limber up was one.
Yeah.
Enjoy the little things. Seatbelts. All right, we've got an opening now.